someone in the Manhattan Project selected him out of that group to go into the Manhattan Project.
So was this ever really stressful for you, or did you just kind of?
Yeah, it was stressful because I was always, no matter where we went, I went to 3 different schools in the first grade. And I was, when I went, no matter where I went, before I was in school, I didn't have a chance to really stay long enough to know anybody. Or maybe maybe we weren't supposed to know anybody. Because I had a strange occurrence that happened when we were living in Chicago on Lakeshore Drive. We were on some big steps, and there was a really busy street down below with, several lanes. And this big black car pulled up, and I was standing part of the way up the steps, and this man got out and came up to me. And Mother flew at him and said, "Don't you ever go near someone's children," and grabbed my arm. And there were lots of other people there, but I've never been able to figure that out. And I was also hit by a car in Chicago. I was trying to cross the street. I knew that I could go when the light said red. So I turned loose of Mother's hand and stepped out, and this driver came tearing around the corner. And I evidently rolled under the car for about a half block, and I did not have a scratch on
So,
scratch.
so was it really hard to move from places to places?
Yeah, because you didn't know. I didn't know anybody I just knew Mother and Daddy. And now when we lived in the apartment hotel, there were some people, some old people, but there were some children that lived on the higher floors. I never got to interact with them.
Yeah, so has any of this that happened in your childhood affected you later in your lifetime?
Well, I think what has affected me the most is when they dropped the bomb. Everybody on the base went to this big center where they had a movie theater, and they showed the bomb being dropped, and they showed the military films of what it looks like after the bomb dropped. And I was 5. And I mean, I think I really didn't have a childhood much after that. Because those images, I can still see them.
Yeah.
It was just horrific.
So you were almost forced to mature and grow up a little bit faster than most people.
Yeah, I guess I was. Because, finally, after the war, I made a friend because we moved to Evanston, Illinois. His dad went with a big architectural firm in Chicago, and I finally had a friend that I could play with a lot, but I didn't. Now, on that Navy base, it was like when you go to the bases, if you're the new kid, it's like fresh meat. And so I learned to stand my ground and never let them see me sweat. And I would, if they wanted to fight me, I would fight them. And I can remember wrapping around one of the kids' front porch post and screaming for her mother because the kid was beating on me. But, that was the kind, it was just not a pleasant thing. Mother tried to make it pleasant, but it wasn't.
So what was your dad like as a person?
Wonderful. He was really, really smart, but he was really caring, and I could still remember sitting in his lap, and people would be over, and I'd be in his lap, and I'd fall asleep, and my head was on his chest, and I could hear his voice real low through his chest, and I've always just adored him. He was kind, but he had his you know, he was the boss. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. There was no doubt about that. And I can remember one time we were traveling somewhere, and that was when they used to fill your cars up for you with gas. And he saw this guy light a cigarette while he was pumping the gas, and he jumped out of that car and scared that man so bad. And, you know, so he was, I don't know what all he had to go through in the, you know, in what he was doing, but I do know that he was down at the site when they tested the first atomic bomb. That was down at Juarez, New Mexico. And my boy cousins who live in Kansas said he told them that he was on the escort for Little Boy, which was one of the atomic bombs. I think it's the first one they dropped. And they went, and it was somewhere hidden in Oakland. And so many parts of the military did not even know about that. And he would get arrested in places because they'd see him in different uniforms. And that was illegal. But all he had to do was tell them to call a certain phone number, and they would just immediately back off.
Yeah.
And one time he went down to San Diego. There was a Navy commander or higher, I don't know what the rank was, but he was saying evidently he had some part in something, but he didn't know about the atomic. He didn't know about the atomic bomb. He was saying he had to get more help down there, and he'd been trying to reach everybody in the Navy or about, He picked up the phone, called in his office, called a number, and within 2 days the help arrived.
So were you ever worried at some point that he was going to get in something bad working with the military, or?
Well, I never was fearful that he was overseas in combat. I knew he would. I never thought he would.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I can remember in Chicago, he would be listening to the radio about the bombing that was going on in different places, and I would get under the dining room table and pull all the chairs around me sideways and hide. So, I had and I think I slept my phone until I was 4. So that might be a clue.
Yeah. So was it ever really dangerous for you, or was it normally that you would just go on?
I know Daddy, the Corps of Engineers has a pin, a little gold pin. It looks like a castle. And I remember one summer, after we lived in the apartment hotel, we house sat for a professor at the University of Chicago in his mansion. It had 4 floors, it had a basement. And Daddy said that not to tell anybody that he was in the Army. And he said if I'd be really good, he'd put the Corps of Engineers pin on under my coat, and I could sit out on the front steps. And I sat out there, and I was so proud. And there was, I don't know if you realize it, but back then they had the Signal Corps in the Navy, which is what they had flags, and they would hold them in different positions to communicate with other ships. And right behind this mansion was this huge lot, and every 2 or 3 days I would hear stamping of marching feet coming right in front of the house, turning the corner and going into that lot. And there was a big mound built up toward the fence in the backyard, and I would stand up on that mound and watch the Signal Corps practice. But I was just not to tell anybody that he was in the Army. It was but I really didn't have anybody to tell.
Yeah. So you said he worked or at some point y'all lived on the Mojave Desert. Do you know what he was doing when y'all were living there?
Yeah, he was working on the finalization of the atomic bomb.
Okay, because I did know that that was one of the like major
Yeah.
facilities, and
nobody knew about it.
so he was really involved.
Oh, yes, from designing the apparatus where the first atom was split, which had to happen before you could even go for an atomic bomb. They had to figure out how to do that and release that energy. Oak Ridge, Tennessee, he laid out housing for that. I mean, he was traveling all over and doing whatever. And I wish we had him here because, you don't think when you're younger to ask your dad a lot of stuff, but he never talked about it on his own.
Yeah, so it seems like he was a really intelligent man, like very smart.
You better believe it.
It also seems like he passed a little bit of that down to you.
Oh, and you too.
It's crazy that you can remember all that.
Oh, I can see it in my mind. It's so vivid.
Yeah.
And I was scared during those air raid things. That was so eerie to hear and have all the lights off.
Yeah.
And, hear the soldiers. And I was just, I don't know, but Mother did a wonderful job of just entertaining me and, trying to make it somewhat normal.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, well, that's really crazy, and that's very interesting, and thank you so much for letting me interview you.
Well, thank you for interviewing me. I love it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, darling. I hope